Hello, everyone. Welcome to what we're calling this is the Refoundation Better Life series. This is a bunch of webcasts that we're doing, and they're usually going to be on Wednesdays. And so almost every Wednesday in February and in March, just to get started, and we'll start planning some more for springtime. So you're going to have a lot of cool opportunities that we're building here for you. And I'm Rob Girth. I'll introduce myself for a minute. I'm Rob Girth. I'm the Director of Digital Media here at the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation. And today's presentation is on adaptive sports, mostly about skiing. I think we're going to sneak a little bit of snow skiing. We're going to sneak a little bit of water skiing in there. And it's hosted by Candace Cable, who you're going to meet in a second. And she brought along an expert with her. Not that Candace isn't an expert, because you're going to find out she's a pretty cool expert as well. Bill Bonus. Now, see, I said bonus, but I don't think that's right, and Bill will correct me. Bo with an S. I'm sorry, Bill. And one of the things we want to do is we want to take questions. Now, there's two ways to take questions. You can use the chat feature, and we're going to take the questions at the end. So you'll be able to use the chat feature, which is fine. If you would like to actually speak to Bill or Candace, I'm going to give you a phone number. If you haven't called in and you're not on the phone lines, you don't have to do anything different than you're doing. Just pick up your phone and dial the number I'll give you, and I'll actually put the number up in the chat so you'll be able to see it as well. That's probably the best way to do it. I'll put it up in the chat so you'll see it as well. There's a couple technicalities to the chat, to the call-in, so I'm going to turn that over to our operator, Chris, who will explain that for us. So go ahead, Chris.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen on the phone lines, at any time if you'd like to register for a question or make a comment, press 6-3 on your phone to mute and then 6-6 to unmute your lines. I'll turn the conference back over to you.
Okay, thanks. So it's 6 to unmute and 6-3 to be muted when we open the phone lines at the end. And again, I'll put that number in the chat feature so you'll have it. So with no further ado, let me turn this over to Candace, and you can take it from here, Candace.
Thanks, Rob. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm super excited. This is our first one, and I'm also a little nervous, but I've got an expert here today, Bill Boness. And Bill is someone that I've known for quite a while. He has a spinal cord injury, and it happened in 1979. And Bill is my expert today on alpine skiing. But as you can see, he is a skier through and through. Not only does he alpine ski, he also water skis. He and his lovely wife, Denise, you can see down there on the left, spend their summers in Mississippi on a lake that they built so that they could teach adaptive water skiing. And his accomplishments in sit-down water skiing are massive, not only in awards, gold medals, and world records, but also in rules and creating organizations. I have to stop here and say that we have Bill's complete resume, and I'm telling you, it is massive, on our group page of this webcast for your exploring pleasure afterwards. And right now, I want Rob to show you a quick video of some of his expertise.
Now, this is really just so we're all aware, because we're new. We're all new. This is the first time that we've tried showing the video, so let's hope everything works. And you want the water skiing one, right, Candace?
I do.
Okay, here we go. Let's see what happens.
I think that tournament slalom water skiing is one of the more difficult.
I'm just going to interrupt you guys. I'm sorry. I think while the video was playing, we only heard the video from the audio, or the audio from the video. So it is up to, we have to kind of repeat what you were saying. So again, tell us about, Bill, about the lake and what you were saying before while the video was rolling.
Oh, shoot, sorry about that, folks. I guess I start off by thanking Candace for having me, and welcome to everybody out there listening. Yeah, the video you just saw was a little bit of tournament slalom skiing, and that was on the lake that my wife and I built in Mississippi.
So, Bill, you were going around some buoys. Is the rope a certain length that you have to have, or can you have any length at all?
There's a set length that you start with, and then once you get up to a maximum speed, they actually start shortening the rope until it becomes so difficult you can't make it around the buoy anymore.
Oh, okay. So there's a real stretch going on.
Yeah, there certainly can be. Absolutely. Yeah. Tournament water skiing is kind of tournament water skiing is one of those kind of oddity sports that once you understand the rules, it makes it a whole lot more interesting. And I don't know how involved you want to get with that right now, Candace, but the factors to it are boat speed and rope length, and those are the parts that can make it more and more challenging. And the point is to keep going around buoys until you either miss or fall.
Oh, okay. Well, we're not going to get too far into it today because really we're going to be talking about alpine skiing. That's our chosen sport of the day because, you're skiing year-round. You ski winter, you've got the alpine ski, and summertime you're water skiing. And I think we have to have you come back to talk about the water skiing because you have such a huge list of accomplishments. And
I'd love to. As I look outside, I see snow and white on the ground. So let's get back into talking about snow skiing.
Okay, so one of the things that you wrote to me was that education is a real part of who you are. And as I looked through your list of accomplishments with alpine skiing, it was no surprise that education is a huge part of what you are. You are the technical director of Disabled Sports USA Far West, and since 2008, you've been the coach of the Professional Ski Instructors Association's adaptive team, leading clinics all over the country. Now, you're on the demonstration team, is that correct?
And actually not anymore. I retired last year after serving 8 years with Professional Ski Instructors of America on the educational team. I finally stepped down a year ago.
You did, and now were you the first sit-down skier on that team?
That's correct, yep. I certainly was.
Oh, wow.
It was quite a privilege.
That's a huge accomplishment and great disability awareness.
Thanks.
I also discovered, looking through your resume, that you were on Ski Magazine's 10 Most Intriguing Ski Instructors, which I found really fascinating. And not only is education a real part of who you are, but you have a BA in physical education with an emphasis on adaptive PE, and also a BA in recreation management with an emphasis on therapeutic recreation. So, I mean, you are a recreator through and through, right?
Yeah, I certainly am. I actually get paid to play. It's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, I like that idea. And also, you were a Paralympian. You competed in the Lillehammer in 1994 in the games, winning a silver medal and 2 bronze medals. Is that right?
That's correct. Absolutely.
Okay, and that other picture there shows rock crawling, which we're not going to talk a ton about today, but I really wanted to point it out because it's a hobby of yours, and I actually can't believe you have time for hobbies.
Yeah, nor do I as well. And the deal about the rock crawling is that for every hour you get to go out and play on the rocks, you're probably 2 hours in the garage fixing things after they break. So I don't know how much time I have for it either.
Well, I want to get into some of your history. Growing up, as a kid, where did you grow up, Bill? And it looks like you were pretty active.
Yeah, I certainly was. I grew up in Southern California, out near Arcadia or Pasadena. Some folks know. I actually little town of Temple City. And some of the slides you have up there, my dad was from Canada, so by the time I was able to toddle around, he had me out on artificial ice and skating around and on the ice rinks in the area and playing hockey. And I think I was always an athlete. I was always outside playing and messing around outside and in organized sports, played baseball and hockey, of course, was a big part of what I did and all the different sports in school. But I just loved the outdoors. I loved the mountains. I tell people that I was a small-town boy that happened to grow up in a big city because I always felt more comfortable when I was in the mountains, out in the woods, whether it be fishing or hunting or hiking, whatever.
And that picture of your hunting dog, Shannon, what kind of hunting did you two do together?
some upland game, so quail and pheasant and dove hunting. That's where that particular dog was useful. So there was a pointing dog and an Irish setter there. I've had other dogs since, but she was one of my first hunting dogs.
Yeah. Do you still pursue the hunting?
I do. Yeah. Still do dove hunting whenever I can, and a little duck hunting when I have a chance. But it overlaps a very busy part of my life when in the fall, when it's a transition from my two favorite sports of both the water skiing and then the snow skiing. So I just don't get to do that as much as I would like to.
Oh, well, maybe you're going to slow down one of these days and be able to put a little more time in.
Perfect. I hope so.
Well, we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty here, to that infamous slide that day that you had an accident and a spinal cord injury, a Jeep accident, I see.
That's right.
Can you let us know what happened?
Yeah, I was living in Montana at the time. After high school, a buddy of mine and I had been saving all of our dollars and had bought a little house trailer, and our plan was to take a trip across the country, and we made it as far as Montana and ran out of money, so I'd taken a job there, actually working at a state school for intellectually disabled. At the time they were called mentally retarded, and I thought I had wanted to go into psychology or a helping field of some sort, and had taken a job at that school. So I had gone back to Southern California on a couple of days off and was going to help my girlfriend move back up to Montana with me, and had loaded up her little Volkswagen, which you see a corner of there in that picture. Loaded her little Volkswagen up and used it as a trailer to move her stuff, and hooked it up behind my Jeep. And about 3/4 of the way back to Montana, part of the tow harness, part of the tow bar that I had towing the Volkswagen broke off and caused us to go over an embankment. And you can see the results there.
Absolutely. Oh, it looks like the top of the vehicle was crushed, and you sustained a spinal cord injury.
Correct. Yep, T12L1, complete injury.
And where did you do your rehabilitation?
I got hurt outside of Pocatello, Idaho. I'm going to make this a long answer to a very simple question, but I got hurt outside of Pocatello, Idaho, and ended up getting flown via air ambulance back to Southern California so I could be closer to family and have their attention. And ended up at UCLA for the acute part. So they did Harrington rods, and there were a lot of other injuries and broken bones that went along with this car accident. So they were the least of their concerns at that time was the spinal cord injury. They were kind of doing life-sustaining kind of assistance. And then after I was stabilized and had Harrington rods, I was in acute for about 30 days, and then they sent me to Casa Colina rehab out in Pomona. Some folks know Casa Colina from the basketball teams and some of the stuff they do in Southern California. And that's where I was rehabbed.
Oh, okay. Good to know. So not Rancho Los Amigos, which I would have kind of guessed that it might have been, seeing it was down in Los Angeles.
Particularly for that time frame. Yeah, Rancho was the hospital at the time, and the orthopedic that did my back work was actually looking for another rehab, and I was one of his guinea pigs, one of his kind of test patients. I was one of his that he sent out to Casa just to kind of check it out.
Well, I'm curious, once you were in the hospital and you were going through rehab at Casa Colina, was there a standout moment or something that was said to you that helped you begin to move forward with your life, or words of wisdom or something like that?
Boy, there wasn't really any one particular moment, but I will say that they're having just excellent medical attention both at the acute and at rehab, and having family and friends that were extremely supportive were the big differences for me. Having family and friends that would give you a shoulder to cry on when that was your need, or the proverbial kick in the derriere when you needed that as well, really was I think one of the biggest things for me is having excellent support both in the medical field and also with my family and friends.
Those are the things that really helped me be able to bring it back around with my spinal cord injury. I spent some time feeling sorry for myself, but it was my family and friends that really seemed to pick me up. And did you get involved with adaptive sports right away, or did it take a little bit of time?
Right away. And that, if I was going to put my finger on one thing, the question you asked previously, if there was one thing that really kind of turned the corner, it was my involvement in sports. It was the outlet of physical activity that helped bridge that gap and kind of bring me back into kind of give me the focus I needed. Some of the first sports I got into were marathoning and track work, and of course basketball and tennis was just starting back in '77, so I kind of got into that on the ground floor. That that seeing the next slide there, those were the three sports that I first got into, and that was what got me into the disability community, if you will, the other athletes that I was competing with and against. And I think that the real learning, like anybody that's gone through this process, the real learning is after you get out of rehab and once you get into the real world and have to start figuring out how life really works. And I think that the peers in sport were very helpful in bridging that gap.
I agree with you. And I am totally intrigued by this 80-mile disability awareness push from Reading to Chico. What was the inspiration behind that?
It just got a wild thought and decided to go do it. I'd never really been
all
fast.
on your own? You made this up?
Yeah, and ended up there was the disability sports program at the university I was going to, the on-campus enabling services, and then there was a local peer group within the community, and the three collaborated, and it was kind of a way of drawing attention to those great programs and what the power of disability and not the handicap is the term back then, kind of focusing on ability rather than disability.
And focusing on ability, you helped organize the Casa Colina Condors also, is that correct?
I did, yeah. That was after I got out of rehab at Casa. Many folks know John Chambers is an old-time name out there. As it turned out, I decided through rehab that I wanted to go into therapeutic recreation, at least I thought I did. And as it just coincidentally happened that the therapeutic recreation person at Casa had stepped down, left for another position, and so John and I kind of stepped in as recreational aides, and kind of helped to bridge the services while they were looking for a new therapist. And part of what I did was to help write a budget and take it through the hospital administrators to support the Casa Colina Condors.
Boy, the first beginnings, you're right there at the forefront.
Yeah, absolutely.
So were you going to college at the time also?
Junior college at that time. And after, I guess I was about 18 months after rehab, left the Southern California area and moved up to Northern California and started the therapeutic recreation program at Cal State University, Chico. All
right. And as I said before, you have a BA in both adaptive physical education or just physical education?
The BA is in physical education with an emphasis in adaptive.
And the other was recreation management.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's correct. Uh-huh.
So
both degrees that fell right into the sport and recreation teaching of sport and recreation I was looking for. I started with therapeutic recreation and realized that I was more of a teacher. Realized that I was an educator. I enjoyed the teaching side of things. And for a while I was even thinking about staying in the educational curriculum and getting a teaching credential, and then at one point had aspirations of being a professor at the university.
And education then has always been a huge part of your life.
I believe so. Yeah, I'm a teacher. I'm a teacher at heart. I enjoy coaching. I enjoy teaching. I enjoy instruction. As much as doing or competing in the sport that I'm coaching.
Well, that takes us to you getting started in skiing, where
Right.
you were being instructed in skiing. And
Absolutely.
I put a little history up there of the Winter Paralympic Games, because in 1984 was the first demonstration of SID skiing, and we've got a picture of an Arroyo ski and a GFL, which were the predecessors to the monoskis.
That's correct.
What was
the old
that
Arroyo
first
ski.
lesson like?
Goodness. Well, the Arroyo ski, which is on the right-hand side there, the slides that your folks are watching, it was the first sliding implement for mobility impaired folks, and it was a little more than just a sled with runners. And you had either poles like I have in my hands there. Some folks used little picks, little very short, only maybe 8-10 inches tall, kind of little picks that you would drag in the snow. Some folks even used more of a single pole and tried to maneuver the sit ski like a kayak, kind of a way of maneuvering it. It really was terrible, though. It wasn't very maneuverable. It was almost impossible to get on and off the chairlift by yourself. You had to have really monkey arms if you were having a chance of getting on a chairlift. And I'm stubborn. I enjoy the independence. I enjoyed being able to do by myself when I wanted, where I wanted, and the sit ski, you were very dependent upon another person. And then along came monoski, and there's a picture on the left-hand side there of the old GFL ski. It was a ski that came out of Germany and was a fiberglass shell that was mounted on a leaf spring, a car leaf spring, and very rudimentary, difficult to load on and off a chair, but at least you were able to do it independently. And that's what got me into monoskiing.
Now, you were involved with the monoskiing early on with the GFL, but you really didn't get going with becoming an instructor until much later. You became a competitor also.
Correct. Yeah.
And,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
You're exactly right. That after I was introduced to the sport, I went right into the competition side of it, and I probably was competing before I really knew fully how to ski.
And so, honestly, my slides are a little mixed up because I really should have had your competitive stuff next. I have on the slides of your education that you were involved with. And how long were you at Chico State for? Let's talk about that.
Goodness, oh my. As a student, I think it took me about 5 years to get through the two different bachelors, and then another couple of years I was working at the university, filling in for a professor that had gone on sabbatical. So I was actually teaching at the university level and thoroughly enjoyed that. That was
now, when you
I found monoski.
when you started to ski, did you move up to any of the ski areas, or once you were out of Chico State, did you decide that you wanted to be a bigger part of the programming, or
while I was
still at
Chico? Yeah, while I was still at Chico, a friend that I had met at the university, actually in the recreation department, had graduated and gone on and was working in the field, and she had gone and had done an internship at Winter Park, a wonderful adaptive ski program there. And she had gotten involved as an instructor, and then moved back to the Lake Tahoe area where there was an adaptive ski program. It was the program I work for currently, Disabled Sports USA Far West. And although it had a different name back then, it was the first Disabled Sports chapter in the U.S. And so she had gotten a job with them teaching snow skiing. We had run into each other, and she says, "Oh goodness," she remembered that I had not really enjoyed the sit ski, and said, "Hey, there's this new thing called a monoski. You got to come up and give it a try." And sure enough, within a few weeks, I'd gotten up to the mountains and had tried the monoski and fell in love with that, and just never looked back again.
Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about this equipment that's out there. The monoski in the upper right-hand corner. Can you describe a little bit of that to us, how it works?
Okay. You betcha. And that's a great slide, Candace. You have three of the most popular sit-down pieces of equipment we have. But the monoski, which would be in the top right-hand corner, as the name implies, mono meaning one, ski, and that the monoski would be for folks that might have some definitely upper body strength, coordination, and balance. And it probably, of the three pieces of equipment, probably takes the most balance and coordination to utilize, since you're on a very small footprint that is a single ski. Moving counterclockwise, going to the dual ski, this is now, with two skis underneath, the individual has a wider footprint, more stability. It's also lower to the snow. And Candace, I don't think that's titled quite right. That looks like a Tessier dual ski, if I'm not mistaken, rather than an HOC.
Okay.
Yep, but that's, other than the manufacturer, I don't think anybody's going to complain too badly. They both get the same idea, but same similarities there. Two skis underneath, much more stability. Typically, they're a little bit lower to the snow, adding a little more stability to it. Is a great piece of equipment for folks that maybe don't have as much trunk control as somebody that might be using the monoski. Continuing on in counterclockwise.
You can be independent with the dual ski?
Absolutely. It
Okay.
loads on and off the chair, very similar to the monoski. That is, they kind of open up in a clamshell pattern and allow the bucket or the seat part there to sit on the chairlift, and then all that hanging underneath, the ski or skis are hanging underneath the chairlift, allowing you to ride up on the same chairlift as other friends and family.
Oh, that's a big part of skiing, isn't it?
Oh, you betcha. Yeah, it's great. I enjoy my job so much. One of the things I enjoy the most is when we do reunite family out on the hill, to where they're out, taking a picnic on the hill, or a family is out skiing together. It's really one of the most special occasions.
So we've got a couple of videos. We have one of you in a monoski, and then also I believe we have a video of the Tessier. And since Rob said we can't really talk over them, I think after we look at the monoski video, Rob, we'll take a little gap and we'll let Bill talk about what we just saw, and then we'll show the Tessier ski and do the same thing.
Now you're going to have to help me. Is the monoski one the short one that's 15 seconds?
It's
Bill's ski powder?
No, the one that you can see the skier from behind is the Tessier.
So is it the Elizabeth one that I want to play?
Yes.
Okay.
Elizabeth will be second. That's Elizabeth is Tessier, correct, Candace?
Yes.
Okay, so play the Bill one first.
Whichever you want.
I think so. Yeah,
Here we go.
So, Rob.
All right, let's see what happens.
Alrighty. Goodness, that makes me want to get back out on the hill there. I wish we had that much snow anymore. That was back in December. We've been a couple of weeks here without any snow, so I'm getting all excited looking at that video. But yeah, that's just a very short little excerpt of a fairly fresh powder day, and that's what monoskiing looks like from the perspective of somebody outside.
Now the monoski is the one with the one single ski underneath, and you need a little more balance for that. Is that correct?
Correct. Yep. And kind of the old joke around our ski school is that it doesn't take much strength or balance to monoski, but it sure does take a bit to learn, and that's where the dig is. We've had some folks that are fairly high spinal cord injuries that have learned to monoski. But it's really the learning process is what is so energy and balance consuming, if you will.
And then we've got the Tessier Elizabeth video. Rob's going to queue up for us.
Cool. Looking forward to this one. I'm not sure which one.
Nice.
Excellent.
Is that in Sherwood?
That exactly. Yeah, good eye. That's going back at Alpine Meadows into the Sherwood area with beautiful Lake Tahoe in the background, and that was Elizabeth skiing on the Tessier dual ski.
Well, and so the dual ski, I can totally see how you would have a wider base to move with, and so getting on edge is as simple as it is with the monoski, with the dual ski?
It is, and it's rather difficult to see from the video, and definitely not in the still shot we have here now. But the undercarriage, those two skis, are linked with an articulation. That is, if you tip to the left, both skis are going to be tipped equally that same direction. So they are set on edge without having to tip the whole apparatus over. And I don't think that was a very good description, but hopefully some of the folks would have gotten that. There's an articulation underneath, right?
Okay. Yeah, I get that. So they move independently?
No, they move together, exactly.
Together,
yeah.
Okay.
So when they're tipped, both are tipped equally.
Okay.
Yeah.
And length of skis, about the same, or for a mono and a dual ski?
Yep, absolutely. On the dual ski and the mono ski, a regular snow ski off the shelf from your local sporting goods will be attached to it. Unlike the bi-ski, which they are specialty skis made particularly or specifically for the bi-ski. They're much shorter and really radically side cut so that when the person tips, they really hook up and make some sharp turns.
They really do look like it from the picture, that they have a lot of shape to them.
Absolutely.
So with the binding, I'm a little curious of all the skis, the binding. Is it the same type of binding that a stand-up skier would use?
It can. In the pictures here, we have specialty bindings that are just for that piece of equipment. And you could use a marker or a Solomon binding that would work equally as well.
And which one of these skis do you use, a monoski or a dual ski?
I'm in a monoski and not the one pictured.
And not the one pictured. Oh, I should have got a picture of yours. And then I see we have outriggers. Now, can you explain the outriggers a little bit to us? They look like a crutch tip or something. A crutch.
They are. They're very fashioned off of the old Canadian crutches or the forearm crutch, and it has just a small ski tip mounted to the bottom of the outrigger. And by turning the outriggers, you can help control the sit ski that you're in. Much like the downhill ski of a two-footed person, the outrigger becomes your steering mechanism.
So on a monoski, it kind of creates a three-point stance a little bit.
We're getting pretty technical now, but yeah, it's what steers you. You can actually use that, particularly for the monoski and the dual ski. The outrigger is going to draw you into the new turn. On the bi-ski, it can be used for steering, but it can also serve as a way of pushing the bi-ski on and off an edge so that you're just carving those really sharp skis that we had talked about. On the outrigger as well, you can see that little string attached. By pulling that string, you can pull the outrigger tip up and place it into what we call a crutch position, so you could then use that to maneuver through the flats or through the lift line or to push it from point A to point B across the flats.
Oh man, there's a fair amount of equipment involved with alpine skiing, but it looks like, and I've done it before, it looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, you betcha. Absolutely.
Well, I have a couple questions on someone who wants to get started. You took it all the way from a beginning never-ever skier to a Paralympian and becoming an instructor. So what advice would you have for someone who would like to take a lesson and they want to, try their hand at alpine skiing? What would be their first step?
His first step is to get quality, competent instruction right from the very beginning. And there are hundreds of adaptive ski snow sports programs throughout the country. Would highly recommend that you go to your local mountain and ask for if they have an adaptive program and see what they have, or where you may get reference to a different mountain that has an adaptive program. Not every mountain has, although they should. But I guess I'm really stammering over the fact that going to a competent adaptive program is really the first step. This is not something that you can take on by yourself, or just go out and buy the equipment and have somebody, your next door neighbor, teach you how to do it.
Yes, I agree with you on being able to take a lesson. Whenever someone's asking me about any type of adaptive sport, or even any of my able-bodied friends are thinking of taking up a sport, I always tell them that a lesson is the first thing you should do, because they're going to give you all the information that you need to see if it's something that you want to pursue. It's great advice. So
pursuing that in a safe environment with a variety of equipment. You mentioned earlier how specialized all this adaptive equipment is, and I couldn't agree more. And for those folks that are listening that are in adaptive sport, they realize that the interface between person and the adaptive equipment is paramount to the success or the fun of that sport. And adaptive alpine skiing is no different. That being fitted appropriately, having the equipment that is suited to your disability, to your particular needs, is really the most important part here.
That's a really great point. Thank you for bringing that back up, Bill, because, safety is huge, and getting the right equipment, being fitted properly, makes a huge difference. It's like wearing the proper shoe, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
When you were competitive, what kind of things did you have to have in place so that you could compete at the highest level? And I think I'm asking is, what are some of the things that you needed to put together, especially with reference to your spinal cord injury, that allowed you to be able to compete at a really high level and become a Paralympian as far as health and wellness?
Following the conversation we just had, that interface of equipment, having the right equipment that moved when I moved, being able to really be a part of my ski was one of the most important things there. I think that the other part of it is good training. When I was on the U.S. adaptive team, we had excellent coaches, excellent training camps set up. When I went home to my home mountain, I would ski with either the master's program or sometimes the high school teams, so that I was in appropriate courses, training and bashing gates with like-minded individuals. They may not have been disabled, but folks that really appreciated and had the passion for alpine racing that I had. Training. There's no substitute for it.
Mm-hmm. And it sounds like you created a community.
And it's interesting that the community that I created at the time, I was living way up in the panhandle of Idaho, little town of Sandpoint. And the community that I created there, I was the only adaptive skier on the mountain. So my racing peers were either the kids on the kids program or the able-bodied masters program, and the coaches had never seen a monoski before. They would scratch their head a lot, and we would chat about it after we got off the mountain, and they finally started not looking at me as a disabled skier, and rather looking at the way the ski slid down the hill and around the gates, and started watching the similarities and paying attention to the similarities of skiing as opposed to the subtle differences of me sitting down and all the others on the mountain were standing up.
Boy, it really sounds like, again, you were inadvertently becoming an educator with the disability awareness and showing the sameness of the skiing.
Yeah, and that was by no means my goal at the time. It was just to get some practice time in, to get some training time to get into a course. But I'm sure that there was some ambassadorship going on there, and definitely I was referred to as a role model. But that was not my motivation.
No, as long as I've known you, which has been quite a while, that definitely is not been your motivation. I think moving forward and just bettering day by day has always been the inspiration that I've gotten from you. I had a question about equipment. So wheelchairs, skis, all these things, they break down. Do you have any kind of like special MacGyver kit that you carry around with you, or a story that you can tell us about how you had to fix something on the fly to be able to compete?
The amount of duct tape and baling wire that have been used over the years just to get by or to jury rig something. Zip ties, there's another one I use a lot of to jury rig stuff. But, I think, luckily I'm a little bit mechanically inclined. I enjoy tinkering on my own equipment. I have a pretty extensive shop in the garage now that has been built up over the years. I enjoy the working on stuff so that when the equipment breaks down, I enjoy being able to get out and fix it and maybe improve it and play with it and tinker with it. But I know that that's not for everybody, and there are resources out there where to get your equipment worked on, but it surely helps if you can do it yourself.
Well, I really like the zip tie tip. That's awesome. I hadn't thought about that, but if I look in my kit, I probably have some there too. So
every good emergency kit's going to have a couple of zip ties and some duct tape. Come on, Candace.
I got the duct tape, to be sure.
You bet.
So how does Bill Boness get through a tough day? Like, how does Bill Boness make it through something that it's a rough day somehow? What brings you back up?
Oh, goodness. I think going to a comment that I mentioned earlier of how I got through rehab, although I'm a very introverted individual, my recharge time is typically on my own. My lovely bride, Denise, she's a huge resource and a huge support for who I am and how I get through those tough times. I think that many of our extroverted friends recharge their batteries and kind of thrive being around other people. I tend to need that recharge, or to get over a bad day is my alone time, and it's just differences in personalities, but that's how I do it.
Mhm. And are there any words of wisdom or quotes that inspire you on a daily basis that you'd like to share with us?
I'll check out your Facebook page for that one. You tend to always have the cool little quotes. I guess I'm just not a quote kind of guy. Sorry about that one, Candace.
Oh, that's all right. You're a just do it guy. We have a mutual friend that says, this is how independent Bill is, that says that you don't offer help to Bill Boness unless he has a tear in his eye. And and
then you got to be careful, huh?
Yeah, because you might already be in the frustration place. Well, are you ready for some questions? If we have,
can I ask a question? Can I start?
Yeah, sure, Rob.
If you don't mind, it's Rob. Well, let me remind people, if they do want to ask a question via the phone, to dial 800-931-1309, 800-931-1309. So I think I'll make sure Chris knows that we're opening all the phone lines, and that if you want to ask a question, all you have to do is hit 66 to unmute, and then just butt in, just like I just did, and make sure that you hit 63 to mute, so we don't hear your dog bark in the background. But here's my question, and I'm coming at it from someone who isn't living with paralysis, and someone who's skied and is nervous enough about skiing to begin with. This looks incredibly scary. What level of what level of fear factor is there here for someone to get started? I mean, how do you get over the speed that you could possibly attain in such a quick amount of time? Just scares the heck out of me.
You know, Rob, I think that question is so tough to answer with any one answer. In that, the individuals that participate in snow skiing are as unique and as different as people are in the world. For myself, I thrived on it. The speed, the rush, I'm an adrenaline junkie. That was the it for me. So I realized that is not the same way everybody responds to that, and having a good instructor that can read what kind of a person you are, that can push the athletes and can slow down and comfort those that are looking for a more secure environment. That's what separates really good instructors and quality instructors from ones that are just starting out. So the question you ask is not one that I can answer for everybody, because we are all such unique individuals.
And do I have to have been a skier, do you think, or can I this can be my first experience skiing if I decide? Not being a skier can sometimes be an advantage. I think that those that have come to us that have been skiers pre-injury try to take some of those same sensations and jump right back into skiing the monoski like they skied standing up. And whenever you learn a new discipline on the hill, you need to start all over again. Whether you've gone from alpine skiing to snowboarding or from snowboarding to telemark skiing, you need to crawl before you can walk. You need to go back down to the beginning terrain, and you need to start with the very basics. And sometimes when you have had skiing experience, you're trying to ski the monoski like an advanced skier when you really need to start all over and learn how to wedge ski all over again, if that makes sense to folks. Excellent. Yeah. No, it does. Thank you. And Candace, I see you have a couple questions there. I'll let you go ahead.
Oh, are these the ones on the chat?
Yeah. You see them?
Yeah, I do. Equipment costs. Bill, do you have any insight on equipment costs? And also, the second question on that was grant programs. And I know the Christopher and Dana Reed Foundation have different grants, quality of life grants that they give out, but there's a Challenged Athletes Foundation also that gives out grants for equipment, but equipment costs, Bill?
And Candace, this can really go from used and quality used equipment on a budget to literally several thousands of dollars. Some of the equipment that you had pictures of before, the Tessier dual ski can be $6,000 by the time you get all the bells and whistles added on. But like I say, the sport has been around long enough now that there are used pieces of equipment out there, and those can be refurbished on a budget. And it's very possible to get involved in monoskiing with your own equipment for $1,000, which is still a hefty chunk of change. But if you look at it from the comparison of going out and getting skis, boots, and bindings for the stand-up skier, you're looking at about the same amount of money. The other aspect of that is that you do not need to own your equipment to learn to ski. The programs that we mentioned earlier, and that Rob posted the HTTP site for, offer equipment. So I kind of got tongue-tied there, but hopefully that came through.
Hi, Bill and Candace. This is Sherry.
Hi.
Hi, I missed your name. Who's this?
This is Sherry.
Hi, Sherry.
Candace knows me. I haven't met you, Bill, but I've heard wonderful things about you. So as far as equipment goes, I was a stand-up skier for a long time, injured myself 7 years ago, started mono-skiing about 4 years ago, but with 4 or 5 days a year. Do you think that there is a huge difference between older used equipment and the newer stuff? I did buy something old and used, but put a new ski on it.
Okay, and that was the smart way to go. Where the technology has significantly and dramatically changed is with the snow skis themselves. So that becomes very significant as a monoskier. What is the Alpine ski that you're on? But Sherry, the other part of this is that yes, technology has changed in the monoskis themselves. There's multiple linkage in the suspensions. There's more travel with the modern day types of monoskis. That being said, you don't need to have the most WADA, the most recent monoski to go out and enjoy this wonderful sport. And if money is an issue, and that if you're looking for a budget way, I think what you did is really the best way of doing it, and that is finding a piece of used equipment and going that route.
Okay, good. Now I just need to learn to stay upright on it.
That's
Where do you
miles,
ski, Sherry?
I was just at Alpine a couple weeks ago. I've been at Mammoth, and I've been at Bear Valley.
Excellent. Great. So you're West Coast
yeah.
Club. Thanks. Yeah.
It's definitely miles. Practice, practice, practice. Well, Jill, we have a question for you about water skiing. We had someone ask if you learned how to water ski after your accident.
I did. Both of these sports. I was a recreational snow skier before I got hurt. I had water skied. I actually stood up and slalom skied on a single ski before I'd gotten hurt. But by no means was I proficient at either of these sports. I'm a far better skier in both sports now than before I got hurt. So did it help carry me over into the adaptive side of skiing? There was probably some experiences there I could draw on, but I basically relearned both sports all over again.
We had a question in the chat also, and I think I'm going to read it and see if you can help me figure it out. But I think it's about becoming stronger after skiing. Do you find that the people you work with that give you feedback after trying the skiing tell you they feel stronger and physically after skiing?
I'm sorry, Candace, can you read that again?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is what it says is that when you work with somebody and you teach them to ski, and I'm gonna say water or snow ski, do you find that they say that they're physically stronger after doing the sport?
Oh, absolutely. There's definitely some water skiing, particularly, is a real workout and a very much of a strength building type of a sport. Snow skiing, on the other hand, I find I don't get the physical workout with snow skiing now, and part of that is because I'm very proficient at it. My movements are efficient in movement, and I'm not working at the sport anymore. So I find that I need to cross-train with either Nordic skiing or in the gym to allow me to be a better alpine skier.
And what muscles does it incorporate with water skiing and snow skiing? Are they similar, or are there some different ones?
They're very different. On the snow ski side of things, again, it's a real strength issue. That water skiing is strength building and very exerting. It's a full upper body workout, a core kind of a workout. And on the alpine side of it, utilizing those muscles will make you or allow you to be a better skier. But depending on the ability of the individual, that is the physical ability, the disability, if you will, very high levels of individuals can monoski or dual ski or biski. And once you've learned the sport, I don't think it is as energy consuming as the water skiing.
Mm-hmm. And when you're in the gym, what exercises do you do to strengthen those areas that for your water skiing when you're in the off season?
Lately I've been trying to work core, upper back, bicep, tricep, all the arm, shoulders, arms, pecs, everything on the upper body, and there's just no compromise for being strong to allowing you to have a good time in these things.
Now, have you noticed the difference as you've gotten older? with what your workouts are going to require?
Absolutely. It used to be that just through my activity level, I never went to a gym. I was an active enough lifestyle. I had enough cross training. There was enough cross sports in my life, and I did those sports at an intensity level that is much higher than now at 55. I'm just not raging as hard. I'm just not going at the intensity that I used to. And therefore I'm finding I'm having to spend more time in the gym to offset that difference. If I don't spend my gym time, then that's where injuries occur, and that's where that's where accidents can happen. So I find I need to be in the gym more now than I did 10 years ago.
And have you had some injuries, Bill?
Yeah. I think that our bodies are not built to do the variety of sports that I've done and at the intensity level that I've done for so many years. I've been hurt since 77 and was on kind of the guinea pig of many sports that were out there. So we made mistakes along the way. Snow skiing in the terrain park or on bumps when shocks weren't as good as they are now, or water skiing and jumping. These were all sports that my body just wasn't set up to handle. And over the years, I know I've done a lot of damage to joints and particularly some of my vertebrae. The discs are going bad there. But I wouldn't trade it for anything. I've had a wonderful life, and I will continue to enjoy sport, but just not at that elite level that I used to enjoy it at.
I agree with you. I mean, I'm in the same boat, so to speak, as you are with aging and having been involved with adaptive sports for so long, and realizing that I need to adjust and adapt in different ways to be able to keep active throughout the rest of my life. And you don't seem any worse for wear, though. You seem to be just as active as you were, maybe in a little different way.
And there, the last part there is the key. There is that it is in a little bit different way. No longer am I doing the 80-foot tabletop jumps or raging in the bumps. I would still take a bump run here and there, but there used to be I would spend all day long just skiing bump after bump after bump. So I think with age comes wisdom, and the wisdom is now to be selective in how I ski and where I ski, and saving my body so that I'm still doing this when I'm 70.
Oh, thank you so much, Bill, for sharing with us today. We appreciate it so much that you're able to be, one of our shining lights that we can look forward to. Your website, Unlimited Skiing, is definitely who you are, Unlimited Skiing. I really appreciate having you today on our very first webcast, Bill. Thank you.
Candace, thank you so very much for asking me. It was really an honor, particularly being your first. And thank you so much to the Christopher and Dana Reeves Association for hosting these. It's just a fantastic service to our disability community out there. And thanks all. It was a real pleasure.
Let me sneak in a little bit of business here before you get to say goodbye, Candace. Just so people know, Candace has set up a spot in our community at ChristopherReeve.org/sports, where you can continue the conversation. If you have more questions, you can post them there. She's posted a bunch of resources there. There's a very, very long document that is all of Bill's accomplishments, which is incredible when you start looking at all the things. We could have spent an hour just talking about all the things Bill has done. So that's ChristopherReeve.org/sports. So don't forget to go there. And that'll take you into our community. You can do other things as well there. And then I'll just give you two more. I'm sorry to give you all these letters to go with, but ChristopherReeve.org/sports takes you to the adaptive sports area. ChristopherReeve.org/webcasts will take you to the page that has this. This will be posted on tomorrow, as soon as I get it up there tomorrow. So if you want to watch it again, and we're also adding these to iTunes, so soon you're going to be able to listen to these on your iPad or watch them We'll have them available as video and audio webcasts. And then just one more thing, because Candace will be too shy to promote herself. Candace writes a wonderful blog, and we've just found a new place for it and a bunch of other bloggers, and that's at Christopher Reeve /Life After Paralysis. So it's /sports /webcasts and /Life After Paralysis. Just if you're looking for just more information on just about anything. So go ahead, Candace. Sorry to.
Oh, that's all right. Thanks, Rob. And I want to thank everybody for coming to listen. I mean, I cannot believe the list. I'm so excited.
So thank you all for being with us, and we'll see you next time. Actually, I'll tell you this, a week from today at the same time, we are doing a webcast about wheelchair basketball. So be sure to keep an eye on our website, and you'll see the link for that to join that and to sign up for that. So that's 1 week from today at 4 p.m., wheelchair basketball. So thanks, everybody.